I'm wondering if you can talk. So, this idea of bridging or communicating across generations, and you're a political science major. Shout out to the poli sci majors. So I mean, it might be we might be able to argue you have a little bit more of a background on some of these things than maybe your other peers do. I'm curious though. Everybody watches the news. Everybody sees what's going on. How do you think we draw the connection between this is what you see happening in the news, or here's what you hear happening about voting rights, and drawing the connection between this is kind of what happened historically, and this is how we fought back and won rights in the past?
I think that's a really great question. I would say that um, to be able to bridge that gap, I think we could use social media and like recognize that technology has grown to be like such has completely transformed how we educate, how we mobilize, and how we organize. I think uh, when we think about organizing in the past, and methods that, especially in the civil rights movement, that they would use, a lot of it would be through community meetings. It would be through advocacy at churches or schools or in neighborhoods, phone banking, all these different things that are still used today. But I think we're in a unique space where we have social media platforms that we can so that we can reach people beyond just people in our local areas, so people can still stay properly engaged with what's going on, um, from Charlotte if we're talking about something that's happening in Wilmington, right? And so I think it's incredibly important that we lean on technology, but at the same time I think about Gen Z. I think a lot of times we see them as the technology generation because a lot of us, we grew up when everything was booming. So, in doing so, we have like a unique perspective, and a lot of times technology comes easier to us than previous generations. But at the same time, I think in the age of AI, like artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, social media, at the same time, I think Gen Z is becoming more and more hesitant to AI. And, I think about how in today's age, especially in 2020, due to the pandemic, everyone was in different areas utilizing things like infographics and, uh, ways to reach people from different areas. That was really great. But I think now when we have AI that can just in a second power, flyers that can be posted and everything, it kind of just takes away from that human element. When we think about bridging the gap, I think we need to remind people of how humanizing this work is, right? Like when we're using social media, I think it's important to highlight individual voices. I think it's incredibly impactful when you highlight the experience of one person, like one voter who is trying to make their way to the polls or trying to do whatever, but they keep running into issues that are not because of them, but because of just the way that it's now set up or the administrative side, like being able to highlight that in a video and then posting it so that people can share it, I think really brings back the human element in advocacy. So in the age of technology, really just leaning on that level of storytelling to bring things full circle. And we can in turn highlight the past and the civil rights movements and the methods that they did. I think that is how we bring things full circle.